This is why old men smell bad. Don't miss this point. Have you ever had that nagging thought in the back of your mind? Do people notice something about me that I don't? It starts small. Maybe it's the way someone shifts in their chair when you sit down. Maybe it's how a friend's smile falters for just a second when you lean in to talk. Or maybe it's the way conversations seem to end a little faster than they used to, like people are eager to move on, even if they don't say why. You tell yourself it's nothing. You're imagining it. You shower, you shave, you take care of yourself. And yet, deep down there's a whisper you can't quite silence. What if they know something about me that I don't? That's a terrifying thought, isn't it? To imagine that the world sees you in a way you can't see yourself. That maybe, without realizing it, you've become the man people avoid rather than welcome. Most men brush it off. We armor ourselves with pride, with denial. We say, I'm fine. I'm not one of those guys. But what if I told you the truth is far subtler and far more common? What if the things that quietly betray you, the things people notice but will never, ever tell you to your face, don't come from laziness or from dirtiness or from lack of care, but from tiny unconscious habits that shift with age? Habits you picked up decades ago when your body worked differently. Habits you don't question because they've always been good enough. Habits that seem invisible in the moment, but slowly, quietly, chip away at the way the world experiences you and the way you experience yourself. This is not about shame. This is not about vanity. This is about dignity, about confidence, about that invisible sense of presence you carry into every room. The difference between being seen as a man who commands respect or a man people quietly pity. And today, I want to open a door that most men keep locked tight, because there are 5 bathroom habits, yes, just 5 simple things, that can make or break the way you're perceived. 5 small, almost hidden choices that can be the reason why, no matter how often you shower, no matter how much cologne you put on, you carry with you a heaviness, an odor, a shadow. No one talks about it. No one warns you. But these 5 habits can rob you of something every man deserves to protect for, as long as he's alive, his dignity. And that's why I'm going to talk about them today. Not to embarrass you, not to expose you, but to hand you back something most men lose without realizing it. The power to walk into a room and know, deep in your bones, that you still belong there. Habit 1. Skipping proper wipe technique 2. Begin with the most private habit of all, the one no one ever dares to mention out loud. Wiping. Now, I know what you're thinking. Seriously? I'm not a child. I've been doing this my whole life. And you're right. It feels almost insulting to bring it up.
But stay with me, because this is where things get painfully real. Here's the truth. What worked for you at 30, or even at 50, doesn't always work at 70. The body changes in ways we don't prepare for. Your flexibility isn't what it used
to be. Your shoulders, your back, your hips don't rotate quite as far. Even your grip strength weakens. And so, without even realizing it, many men stop reaching as thoroughly as they once did. And here's the cruel part. You think you're clean. You stand up, flush, wash your hands, go about your day, never realizing that small traces were left behind. Invisible to you, but not to the world. Those traces don't just sit quietly. They smear, they cling to the skin, they rub into your underwear, they spread into your bedding, your favorite chair, your car seat. They become part of the air around you. And because your sense of smell dulls with age, you don't notice it. But other people do. They smell it when you walk past. They smell it when you sit down. They smell it when you hug them. Even if they never say a word, that's the nightmare no one warns you about. That one day, you might unknowingly become that guy. The man people love, but avoid. The man they whisper about, not because he's mean or unkind, but because he carries an odor he doesn't even know exists. I'll never forget George. He was a retired teacher in his late 70s, sharp as a tack, kind-hearted, the kind of man who could tell stories for hours. But every time he joined his family at the dinner table, someone shifted their chair. Someone cracked a window. His grandchildren didn't sit in his lap anymore. He couldn't understand it. He thought maybe he was boring. Maybe he talked too much. It wasn't until his daughter, fighting back tears, finally told him the truth, that he realized it wasn't his words. It was his smell. Imagine the shame of hearing that. Not because you were dirty, but because your body betrayed you in a way you never imagined. George didn't give up, though. He made a small change. He stopped relying only on dry toilet paper, the same method he'd used his whole life. Because dry paper doesn't clean. It smears. It leaves behind exactly what you're trying to get rid of. Instead, he switched to moist wipes. And when he wanted even more dignity, he installed a simple bidet attachment. A $20 fix that changed everything. The difference was night and day. Within weeks, the awkwardness disappeared. His family leaned in again. His grandchildren hugged him again. And George smiled again. That's what this is really about. Not just hygiene, not just odor, but dignity, connection, belonging. So, here's the wisdom. If wiping feels harder than it used to, if your flexibility isn't what it was, don't see it as a weakness. See it as a moment to adapt. Use wipes. Use a bidet. Use tools that exist to protect you from exactly this invisible betrayal. Because the truth is, being truly clean changes the way you carry yourself. When you know, really know, that your body is fresh, your confidence rises. Your conversations flow easier. Your presence feels lighter. And other people feel it too. This first habit is uncomfortable to talk about, yes. But it's also the foundation. Because nothing restores dignity faster than knowing you are clean in the most private sense of the word. Habit 2. Neglecting the hidden folds. Let's move to the second habit. And again, it's one most men never think about until it's too late. I'm talking about the folds, the creases. Those hidden places in your body where sweat, skin oils, and bacteria quietly gather. For younger men, it's not as big of a deal. Your skin is tighter, firmer. Your body burns through oils differently. But as you age, your skin changes. It softens. It sags. It folds in on itself in ways it never used to. Your armpits aren't just armpits anymore. They're deeper. Your groin, your thighs, your belly, even the back of your neck. Every crease becomes a pocket. And those pockets, they trap moisture. They hold onto dead skin cells. They create the perfect breeding ground for odor. Here's the harsh truth. Most men don't wash there properly. They'll run a bar of soap over their chest, rinse off, and call it a shower. But soap never made it into the folds. The towel never dried them out fully. And day after day, week after week, that buildup grows. No one will tell you this. Not your wife, not your kids, not your friends, because it's too awkward. Instead, they'll just know. They'll wrinkle their nose without realizing it. They'll shift their chair ever so slightly away. I remember a man I once worked with. Let's call him Richard. He was in his 60s, a proud guy. Always wore crisp shirts, polished shoes. He thought he was presenting himself well. But in meetings, people avoided sitting next to him. Not because of his clothes, but because of the sour, heavy smell that clung to him. One day, during a private conversation, he asked me, "Do I smell? People seem different around me lately." It was heartbreaking, because he genuinely didn't know, and I had to gently tell him, "Richard, it's not that you're dirty. It's that your body needs different care now than it used to." I explained about the folds, the armpits, the groin, under the belly, even behind the ears. He started using a simple washcloth, lathered with soap, to get in there. Not just a quick rinse, but an intentional clean. Then he made sure to fully dry those spots afterward, even using a little baby powder in the summer to stay fresh. Within weeks, the difference was night and day. He told me his wife kissed him longer again. His co-workers leaned closer when he spoke. He laughed, really laughed, for the first time in months. Because here's the thing most men forget. It's not just about avoiding smell. It's about how being truly clean makes you feel lighter, sharper, more confident. You walk differently when you know every part of you is fresh. So, habit number 2 is this. Don't neglect the folds. Take the extra minute in the shower. Use a cloth, not just your hands. Get into every crease. And dry them afterward, completely. It's uncomfortable to think about. It feels unmanly to fuss over these details. But let me tell you, there is nothing more manly than walking into a room knowing you are fully presentable, fully dignified, and fully yourself. That's the power of caring for the parts no one else sees. Habit 3. Forgetting the feet now. Let's talk about something most men never think twice about, until it betrays them. Your feet. Think about it. Your feet carry you everywhere. Decades of standing, walking, working, living, all resting on those 2 overlooked parts of your body. And yet, for most men, they are the most neglected. You shower. Sure, the water runs down. Maybe you let the soap drip, and you assume that's good enough. But here's the truth. It isn't. Because your feet aren't just skin and bone. They're covered in thousands of sweat glands. Every step you take, every shoe you wear traps heat and moisture inside a dark, enclosed space. That becomes a breeding ground for fungus, bacteria, dead skin, and odor. You might not smell it yourself, again because your nose dulls with age. But the people around you do. They smell it when you kick your shoes off. They smell it when you sit in someone's car. They smell it when you visit their home, and the air suddenly changes. And here's what makes it worse. Aging changes your circulation. Your nails thicken. Your skin hardens. Calluses form. Fungus creeps in. And slowly, without realizing it, your feet don't just smell, they broadcast a heaviness that follows you. I knew a man once. We'll call him Tom. He was a widower in his late 70s, sharp dresser, always in clean slacks, polished belt, tucked shirt. He thought he was put together. But his daughter told me privately that when he visited her house, she dreaded when he'd take his shoes off. She loved him dearly, but she said it was like the whole room filled with a sour, swampy odor. And Tom, he had no idea. When I finally talked to him about it, he looked down at his shoes and whispered, "But I shower every day." And that's the trap so many men fall into. They assume the water that drips down in the shower is enough. But it isn't. I gave Tom 3 simple steps. First, actually wash the feet, intentionally. Bend down, scrub the soles between the toes, under the nails. Use soap, not just water. Second, dry them thoroughly. Moisture is the enemy. A quick rub with the towel won't cut it. Get between the toes every time. And third, care for them. Clip the nails. File the calluses. If needed, use antifungal spray or powder. Because once fungus takes hold, no amount of soap alone will solve it. It took some getting used to, but Tom made it a habit. And within weeks, the change was remarkable. His daughter hugged him longer again. His grandkids climbed into his lap without wrinkling their noses. And Tom cried. He told me, "I didn't realize something so small could steal so much from me." That's what habit 3 is all about. Your feet may be at the bottom of your body, but they're at the foundation of your presence. Ignore them, and people will notice, whether they tell you or not. But care for them, and you restore a piece of your dignity most men don't even realize they've lost. So don't forget your feet. They've carried you your whole life. The least you can do is return the favor. Habit 4. Skipping deodorant or using the wrong kind now. Let's talk about something deceptively simple. something that at first glance seems almost trivial. Deodorant. For many men, especially after retirement, it's one of the first routines to slip away. I'm mostly at home now. I'm not sweating like I used to. Who cares? But here's the truth. Odor isn't always about sweat. Not anymore. Not at our age. Even when you barely move, even when you don't notice a drop of sweat, your body is still producing oils. Your skin is still home to countless bacteria. And over time, that quiet, invisible interaction between oil and bacteria produces a subtle, persistent scent. A scent others can notice long before you do. I remember a man named Walter. He was in his early 70s, a retired engineer. Sharp, intelligent, the kind of man who commanded respect in a room just by walking in. Yet his daughter whispered something to me one day. "Dad smells different lately." I don't know how to say it. Walter was mortified when he found out. Not because he was lazy, but because he had assumed his old stick of deodorant, the one he used for decades, was still enough. It wasn't. And this is something most men don't realize. Your body chemistry changes as you age. What worked in your 30s may no longer be enough in your 70s. Skin changes, oil production changes, the bacteria on your skin changes. Yet so many men cling to the same old routine, expecting it to magically keep up. Some men try natural deodorants. They smell nice, they feel healthy. But many of these products fade too quickly, leaving the odor to quietly develop throughout the day. And then, there's the confusion between deodorant and antiperspirant, two very different tools that serve different purposes. Choosing the wrong one is like giving your car the wrong fuel and wondering why it won't start. I worked with a retired teacher, Frank, who was devastated when he realized that, despite showering every day, his colleagues were subtly avoiding him. He felt invisible in his own life. We experimented, different deodorants, one for odor, one for sweat, sometimes layered. It was a small effort, but the results were huge. By the end of a week, he noticed people leaning in during conversations. Again. A co-worker who had stopped visiting him started coming around. And Frank? He smiled. Not just politely, truly, deeply smiled. Because he realized he could reclaim control over something that had silently chipped away at his presence. Habit. Number 4 isn't just about masking a smell. It's about recognizing that your body has changed and responding with intention. It's about remembering that every detail, no matter how small, affects how people perceive you and how you feel about yourself. Because confidence is contagious. It radiates, and there's nothing more powerful than walking into a room knowing that you're fresh, present, and fully yourself. So, don't skip deodorant. Choose one that matches your current body. Apply it consistently, and never underestimate the quiet power of this small ritual. It shapes not just how you smell, but how you exist in the world. Habit 5. Ignoring hydration and diets hidden. Roll. The last habit isn't about soap, towels, or deodorant. It's about something far more subtle, yet just as powerful. What you put into your body changes everything about how you present yourself to the world. Your diet, your hydration, your daily habits. They shape your skin, your sweat, your breath, and even the way you feel in your own body. As we age, our metabolism slows. Digestion changes. Medications alter gut bacteria. Suddenly, foods you loved, garlic, onions, heavily processed meals, begin to affect your body in ways you never expected. They seep through your pores, mingle with natural oils, and create odors that soap alone can't erase. Hydration matters too. Water flushes toxins. Water helps your skin breathe. Without enough water, your sweat grows stronger. Your urine becomes pungent. Your breath carries a weight you don't even notice. And the harder you try to mask it with cologne or perfume, the more futile it feels. I'll never forget Mr. Lewis, an elderly man I met in a care facility. Every day he looked sharp, clean shirt, polished shoes, perfectly combed hair, but there was a heaviness in the air around him, a sour, almost invisible cloud. His family tried to ignore it, thinking it was just him. But it followed him, wherever he went. It wasn't hygiene in the traditional sense. It wasn't soap or deodorant. It was dehydration and diet. Once we made small changes, more water, lighter meals, fruits and vegetables instead of processed foods, the difference was staggering. His presence shifted. The air felt lighter. People leaned in closer. Conversations flowed easier. And Mr. Lewis? He laughed more, walked more confidently, and even his posture improved. This habit reminds us of something vital. Hygiene is not only what we do in the bathroom. It's how we care for the entire body, drinking enough water, choosing foods that support your skin and your metabolism, being mindful of how your body processes what you consume. These small, almost invisible acts protect not just your scent, but your energy, your presence, and the way people experience you. And the beauty of Habit 5 is that it's empowering. Unlike some things we can't control as we age, diet and hydration are choices you can make every single day. They are tiny investments with huge returns: freshness, vitality, dignity, and confidence. So, think of your meals and your water as part of your daily grooming ritual. Because what you eat and drink shapes the invisible aura that surrounds you, and it's just as important as what you put on your body with soap, deodorant, or a towel. So now you have all 5 habits. 5 seemingly small, almost mundane things. Proper wiping. Cleaning and caring for the hidden folds. Caring for your feet. Choosing and using deodorant intentionally. Hydration and diet. Each one is simple. Each one is easy to overlook. And yet together they define how the world experiences you and how you experience yourself. These habits aren't about shame. They aren't about vanity. They're about reclaiming something every man deserves: dignity, confidence, presence. Imagine tomorrow. You shower, you clean thoroughly, you step into fresh underwear. Your feet are cared for, your deodorant works, your body is nourished and hydrated. You walk into a room, and people notice. Not the odor of age, not the subtle heaviness of neglect, but you. You feel lighter, sharper, more alive. And for the first time in years, you know without a shadow of doubt, you belong. Because true hygiene isn't just cleanliness. It's a way of honoring yourself, a way of walking through the world fully present, fully dignified, and fully seen. You deserve that. Every day. Conclusion: reclaim your presence. You've walked through these 5 habits with me. You've seen how something as small as a wipe, a fold, a foot, a stick of deodorant, or a glass of water can quietly shape the way the world experiences you. It's easy to think, I've lived this long. What difference does it make now? But every day, every choice, every small habit matters. Because dignity isn't something that fades with age. It's something you nurture. Confidence isn't something that disappears. It's something you reclaim. And presence isn't something that's lost. It's something you carry intentionally. This isn't about perfection. It's about awareness. It's about the quiet decisions that shape who you are and how you show up. Because at the end of the day, the world may not tell you what it notices, but you deserve to know, to act, and to walk into any room feeling fully yourself. So start today. Take these 5 habits, make them yours, and notice how small, intentional actions transform not just your body, but your confidence, your relationships, and the way you inhabit your life. And if you found value in this guidance, if you want to continue exploring ways to honor your body, your dignity, and your presence as you age, then join us. Subscribe to Echoes of Elderly Wisdom and turn on the bell, because this is more than a channel. It's a community, a place where we share the knowledge, the insight, and the quiet truths that help men age with grace, confidence, and presence. You've spent a lifetime building your story. Now let's make sure the world experiences it the way you intend, with freshness, dignity, and pride.